Hi, welcome to the Effects Shop. Today we're going to make some very basic glow sprites that you can play with in Unreal. You can do things like sparks or just kind of give your effect a little bit more depth. So let's go ahead and start by creating a black background. So you can create a new layer and draw a circle. So you can use your elliptical marquee tool over here, and if you press shift you can get an area that is a perfect circle. So once you've created that and you've used your paint bucket tool to fill it with white, you're going to have just this very basic circle in the center of your scene. So go ahead and let's grab, I'm just going to delete these guys and start from scratch. So I'm going to grab both these layers, I'm going to duplicate them, and I'm going to go Control E to merge them. And then I'm going to duplicate this a couple more times because we're going to make a couple of different glow sprites to kind of experiment with how they look in Engine. So grab your bottom layer and we're going to go Filter, Blur, and we're going to do a Gaussian blur on this. So one thing to keep in mind is if you blur it up a lot, you're going to get the edges of your texture, and this is going to ruin the illusion that this is a sprite. You're going to see then that it's just like a camera facing square. So make sure these edges do not connect, that the blur doesn't override the edges, and that you keep these black. So I'm just going to do a very kind of close blur here, and I'm going to say okay. So let's go to our second texture. Let's do that again. So let's go Filter, Blur, and we're going to do a Gaussian blur again. Make this a much stronger blur. Okay, and then I'm going to go to my next texture, and I'm going to, let's see, I'm just going to scale this guy down. First I'm going to hide, well, it doesn't matter, let's just make it a very tiny circle. Unfortunately I have this guy visible. I'm going to say enter, hide this guy. So I'm going to go duplicate my black background and Control E merge these guys. So now I have a single texture, and then I'm going to go Filter, Blur, and we're going to do another Gaussian blur on this guy, and then we can get super blurry with this. And if you want to add in like more rings, you can duplicate this and blur it out. But I'm good with this for right now. So this one, let's do, we'll do the same thing. We're gonna make this guy smaller. And then we're gonna have a large one. So again, the background, Control E. Okay, so let's go blur, Gaussian blur. I'm gonna lightly blur this one, the small one, and I'm gonna make this screen blend, and then I'm gonna blur this guy, Filter, Blur, again Gaussian blur, and let's do a pretty strong, and I can tone down my opacity a bit. So let's see, and then we can make this one super blurry, so then you just have a very, you don't even have that ring, but I like this little center ring here, so we'll go ahead and say okay. So and then we're gonna go Shift, and I'm gonna Control E merge these guys. So got a couple of different ones, got a very kind of small one, large one, so let's go ahead and save these out as textures. So there are a couple of different ways you can do this. You can create a 4x4 and have these each be a different version. But I'm just going to go ahead and save them out as their own texture, so that way I can keep editing them and do that. So you're going to go ahead and save as. And right now I've saved them as quite large. I've saved them as 512. That's totally unnecessary. I mean, for your image size, you can definitely go and scale these down. I usually start with a larger size texture because it's always easy to scale down versus bringing them up. So I'm just going to keep it at 512, it's fine. And then we'll save this as, I'm going to save this as a Targa, and I'm going to save it in my sprites folders, and I'll create a new folder here, and this will be glows. All right, and so this one can be, we'll call this soft glow. Okay, so there's something I'm doing wrong here right now. So I want to go Control A and copy this. I want this to be the alpha. So what I can do is I can create a new channel, which is going to be my alpha channel. And then I'm going to create a new layer. And I want to make sure I use my paint bucket and make this white. So now you can see here that my alpha is going to get my color information just from white, and you can do various tricks with this and have, you know, something kind of colorful, whatever you want, but I'm just going to save it out as a white sprite, so I have total control in the engine. So then I'm going to go again, save as, I'm going to save it as a Targa and call it soft glow. So let's go ahead and open up our engine, and we're saving it as 32-bit. Okay,